Right, so I have returned once again today to actually deliver on a stream of Revolutionary Girl Utena. Whoa, no, wait, hold on a second. I pressed so many buttons. I wanted to actually mute it, but I accidentally pressed the subsequent button that goes to a different video, and it was just, it all went wrong for a second there. I don't know what happened. Anyway, I actually have retouched cover episodes 23 and 24 of Revolutionary Girl Utena. I believe the pseudo-conclusion maybe of the whole entire Black Rose saga itself. And yeah, I must say, this arc is shaping up to be very, very interesting as an actual kind of like arc. Because it kind of very much feels like there's this idea of like almost playing God to an extent as well. It actually kind of permeates through the narrative at this point. I kind of like that aspect as well, because it does kind of feel like where this whole entire narrative leads, it's almost like a godlike kind of power, or the godlike kind of persona, or something similar to that. So it kind of is very interesting that we actually also then have the idea of actually obtaining eternity, that whole entire idea, kind of be like a center point of the whole entire arc, and actually what it does in theory entail, and actually how terrifying it truly can in theory be. So yeah, and also kind of like as well the idea of actually how much the arc is almost a 180 of the previous arc itself. How in a way the original arc was all about kind of fighting for your freedom, fighting for that sense of like wanting to progress, and actually having a centerpiece a person who is really the actual embodiment of freedom. And this narrative now we have here is the complete polar opposite. Instead, we have people who are technically, to an extent, robbed of their freedom, robbed of their ability to actually kind of want to fight, and instead actually are then kind of like exploited through their weaknesses. It's kind of very interesting. I quite like this arc a lot. I actually feel like it's actually a really, really good arc. It's one of those ones I kind of want to rewatch one day again, just to kind of get more of an appreciation of them finished, because this arc does seem very, 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 very deep in that kind of way, and very one of those ones that can be analysed quite a bit. So anyway, it's actually put on Twitter, actually gone live. Right at the exact same time, I do believe the whole entirety of Utena itself can in theory be analysed to no end as well. So it is very interesting. Alright, I do believe with that we should be good to go. We certainly are. So as I always say, let's get this show on the road. Let's start this thing in 3, 2, 1. Let's start this thing absolutely now. So yeah, I mean, it's a very interesting arc, I must say. It's one of those arcs I didn't really expect to be this kind of deep, or almost this 180 of a whole entire like narrative as well. Because again, sometimes 9 out of 10 times, sequels tend to kind of be like the ones that maybe might 180 entire narrative, or actually kind of upend it. In essence, as time goes on, narratives in shows tend to actually kind of reinforce and actually redevelop and actually then reintroduce things we actually already know. I feel like Utena's actually kind of being like, yeah, we're doing that, but at the same time we're actually 180 the whole entire narrative. I actually kind of like that, because again, it feels fresh every single episode. It doesn't really feel like it kind of getting the exact same thing almost all the time. It feels very different every episode, and I kind of like that about it. It's one of those ones that does actually kind of always constantly develop. Hello, very cute person. How are you doing today? How are you? So yeah, I mean, it's very cool. I like this arc a lot. I thought it's actually one of my favorite. I thought it actually is my favorite one so far. I mean, granted, still it's 13 episodes are one whole entire arc, but I still feel like this one is a very, very strong contender for probably the best. Granted, I haven't watched the end one yet, but I'd say this one actually is probably up there. As I said, the show concludes the way it's actually kind of developing as well. It might just reach my top 3 of all time as well. I know, I love this series a lot. It actually is really fucking good. It's very kino, as I would say. What if it isn't, though? But what if it isn't? It is kind of going badly. It is kind of going badly for him, though. When you think about it, every single time it's kind of like, oh wait, I might have got it. No, we have. We've watched the end of his arc now. I was gonna say, because technically speaking, when you think about it, they're not even friends in this whole entire scenario either. Like the student council themselves in other shows are like the friendliest of all friends. They're like two peas in a pod, as we would say. But in this show, they're just kind of there essentially. They don't really kind of feel, they're kind of going off their own kind of personal things rather than actually as a collective. Even the whole entire thing with Toga and Nanami as well, it doesn't really feel like, it's almost one-sided to an extent as well. It's almost like there's no bond with any of the characters, especially if you actually kind of think about it in larger context. Is there technically a bond with Utena and Anthe as well? That's the other thing to note, because we don't necessarily kind of know whether or not there is like a legitimate bond in there, or it's just because of the actual Rose Bride. It does actually also kind of feel like the actual show is sort of going down the same route as actually what happened beforehand. Whether or not actually is kind of detailing that there actually might in theory be an uncertain end for Anthe and Utena as well. I like that sense of uncertainty as well, because it's one of those things that kind of keeps you on your toes, because you actually don't necessarily know whether or not everything might in theory go well, or it might go terribly. Man. Ohio, how's it? Ohio gozaimasu. Genki desu ka? How's it going? I miss those old TVs. Still though, this show has not aged one bit when you kind of think about it. This show's as old as me. It's 23 years old if I remember correctly. I'm 24, so this show's 23. It still feels like it came out like last year. It still feels really fresh. I'm actually very glad to actually hear that. I guess he actually has a habit of actually just out of nowhere saying things. I guess it does. I guess it sort of is on brand. Oh. Oh. Oh, she's putting two and two together. She's putting two and two together. She's figured it out. Oh! Anthony's like me, I just always sleep. That's our whole entire existence at this point in life, just sleeping. It's kind of interesting as well, because the whole entire thing with him, it does also seem kind of very temporary as well. In essence, how they were saying, well, when he's gone, we can carry on. So it does kind of feel like, again, the whole entire thing here is like how temporary everything truly is. How nothing itself is internal, which I guess kind of might be meta to an extent. How everything must come to an end at some point, especially narratives itself as well. I might be speaking nonsense here, I'm not too sure at this point. I guess to an extent, to work correctly, obtaining eternity itself does kind of then yield as like kind of godlike persona in a way. Very much like, I guess it does kind of eerily feel like Icarus at this point in time. The whole entire idea of like the whole entire place behind him burning, which itself is very eerily familiar to the whole entire story of Icarus, how he got too close to the sun and then his wings burnt. Oh, that slow pan though. He's like, wait a minute, you're evil. It's like, well, why? Hey, you figured that one out. To an extent, evil. I don't know. It's one of those things that, again, there's not really an antagonist in the show to the normal degree, I guess. It's a person wanting what they want, essentially, which is the difference in being evil. Like, it's really hard to explain, but I guess in a way, it's someone, if you kind of if you disregard the idea of like evil persona and kind of give the person like a goal, a set goal towards to get to that point of obtaining something, it does to a degree not make him seem as if he's the antagonist, rather he's just someone who wants something. He's driven by power, essentially, I guess is the kind of way to describe it. She's just like, wait a minute, hold up a second here, you're evil. He deserved that, to be honest. Yeah, again, the whole entire word evil is subjective. It's not, it's a term people kind of attribute to certain things, rather than there is evil, if you get what I mean, to the normal degree, but it's also that idea of people just kind of having a goal that doesn't align with the protagonist. So it doesn't, theoretically speaking, make him an antagonist or evil. It's so much as just kind of have him wanting a goal that actually is very much opposed to the actual protagonist's actual goal. It's hard to explain. But even then, I actually kind of like the whole entire idea that the show does then once again kind of bring into question the actual idea to why Yutena's actually there. Going back and actually stemming from the whole entire last arc where she actually basically kind of gave up. It does actually kind of ring true, essentially, in this entire context as well. Like, in essence, how a lot of it is based upon the memories she has. Dude, this fucking arc is brilliant. I fucking love it. It's so good. That is the problem. Can you defeat her though? Dude, it's be the irony. It's do be the irony. I do actually kind of like that though. It is very interesting how it does kind of tell the idea that, particularly speaking, essentially a whole entire character is built on the idea of actually having memories, and whether or not those memories themselves will actually ever kind of yield any good results. It once again goes to the whole entire idea of actually deconstructing the main character and actually kind of saying, essentially, why are you here? Is the thing you want in the end going to be worth it? Because practically speaking, we haven't seen this person she actually wants to kind of meet or actually wants to kind of like become, essentially. Rather, we're going off the idea of a memory that's constantly always referred to us. It's one of those things that it could, in theory, end badly. It might not be what we expect. Once again, going back to the whole entire idea that this show is basically disregarding every single, like, plot thread you kind of see in, like, normal shows, essentially. Especially even in shonen anime as well, because this is actually, this is a very, a whole entire, like, persona, to an extent, a whole entire character almost feels very much like how you see in shonen anime as well. How a person has this, like, memory or this wanting, but in the end of it all, is it worth it? Does it get them anywhere? That's just my thought process on the whole entire thing so far. That's why I really like this arc, because it does actually kind of, once again, deconstruct her character. But not to the degree that, like, say, that happened in the previous one, which kind of gives up, but it's very different in this context. It's the last battle. The last one. How's it gonna end? How will it end? God, I love this series so much. I love this series so much. Ikuhara, you're spoiling me. Yahari is spoiling me right now. I love you so much. I love you. I think we actually have attained true iconography right now. Oh, that trajectory right now is not going to end very well. Oh no! God, I love this series so much. I love this series so much. It's so good. Twas him who was experiencing the illusion all along. Twas him all along that was experiencing the illusion. It honestly feels like, it actually feels like just true iconography right now. Like, we have Kino. We have the Kino of Kinos, and you actually have iconography, which is actually like the top echelon of Kino. I do believe it actually reached it. The apex of Kino itself. Oh, Ikuhara is spoiling me. Bruh! Bruh! Holy shit! What? That was... Ikuhara, you madman! Ikuhara, you fucking madman! I love you. God! The revelations! The fight! The meaning! Chef kiss. Fucking beautiful. Delicious. Some good fucking food right there. Some good food. Some good food right there. That was chef kiss. Oh. I want to go to Japan right now and just say to him right now, you're God, man. Fucking God right there. That was good shit. That was some good shit right there. God, that was good. Oh man, oh it was just. This actually is a rewatch one as well. This is a rewatch one because there's a lot in here. There's a lot to decipher. It kind of does to a degree feel. It feels very much like. Because it kind of does feel it feels very absent outside of the whole entire world when you think about it to an extent as well. Like the whole entire thing just kind of feels very absent. It is almost a 180 of the whole entire narrative. It's almost completely alien to the entirety of what we've already seen. The idea of, like, we're meant to believe that freedom is the key to everything. In essence, fighting for what you're fighting for is actually the key to everything. But then this whole entire show is like, this whole entire arc, I should say, really, is the complete polar opposite. It doesn't. He says they came here on their own free will. They stand here on their own free will. To an extent, they went there on their free will. But the problem was, after that whole entire point, it's stripped away from them. And the entire thing is, like, yeah, how he does detail the idea that it is an illusion. It is kind of valid. Like, in essence, what we might be in theory seeing is an illusion that is conjured up, essentially. The entire thing of Utena's actual character, a whole entire mythos, a whole entire, like, character, her backstory itself might be an illusion. In essence, she's only there because she actually has to, like, fulfill this actual illusion that's actually kind of brought upon her by someone else. And then it does actually kind of make you wonder, is it all an illusion? And I kind of like the whole entire concept. Actually then kind of pulled a rug from beneath you completely, and we could go, oh shit, what the fuck, man? What are you doing here, Ikuhara, you madman? And actually, fucking beautiful. Fucking beautiful that was. God. Just wanna tell him that he's just man, fucking good that was. Holy shit. God, out of nowhere, as we would say, out of fucking nowhere. God, that was raw. That was raw. That was. God, I'm so happy I actually saw this arc so much. It's so good. Oh, I could cry. It's so good. Right, so watching episode 24 now. Oh man, imagine not actually experiencing true iconography of Utena though. Like imagine just not experiencing iconography that is Utena. Just imagine not experiencing this shit. Just imagine living life, not knowing that this true Kino exists out there. Oh man, beautiful. Oh god, beautiful. God, I must say. Right, we're 2 calls in now, I believe. Yeah, 2 calls in. So we're actually now up to the final, well, technically speaking, final core of the whole entire series. So we have 13 episodes, I believe, left technically speaking. We have 14, including this episode, I believe. So 13 out of 25. So anyway, this is episode 24 in 3, 2, 1. Let's start this thing absolutely now. So I guess technically speaking, it was already kind of like very suspicious, the entire fight, because 9 out of 10 times you have the whole stairway. The stairway is a very key component of the whole entire fight. There wasn't really a stairway in the episode prior to this one. Plus, there wasn't the whole entire idea of Sword of Dios either until the very last second of the whole entire fight. And there also wasn't a conclusion either. Like the entire fight was almost like it wasn't real because it's not the same one we're used to. It's more or less completely different. So again, it kind of does make sense at the end of this all that maybe he never was there. The entire thing was just one massive illusion. But God, Kino, fucking Kino, that was true iconography. Oh man, put this in a museum. This deserves to be in a museum because it's just like I need to start a museum of true iconography. To have Utena just standing there. Because God, that was good. Oh, beautiful. Beautiful. So that's it actually does in theory also kind of like put into perspective the entirety of this arc. Well, also the series itself. Because practically speaking, you could in theory interpret that every single character's motivation progression is all but a fabrication. I guess, practically speaking, it is. Was it ever there to begin with? It is. It's top 3 Kino now. It's top 3 Kino. Who knows? It might reach true. It might reach true apex kinography by the end of the whole entire series. I mean, could it beat Banana Fish? I don't know. It has to be Banana Fish in Serial Experiments Lane to actually then reach apex kinography. It just makes sense then. All my favorite series are literally from the 80s and 90s. Oh yes, Naname's entire like bad luck with horses and animals. His secret is he's a fucking idiot. That's his secret all along. He's just an idiot. It's just why Nanami? It's just like, bruh, you make me depressed every single time because he's too good. He's too good. That's the first question everyone always asks. Is he dead? It might reach my top Kino, who knows? That's the thing, it might also reach top Kino. Someone you deserved it though, that's a problem. Can't go like Anthe to actually then say, now he's ruined because he deserved it, he's an asshole. He's a dumbass. But she's also in love with her brother as well. Let's not forget that whole entire shindig as well. He was. Seaweed Boy actually is useless from the beginning. He's a dumbass. Like, true, actual dumbass. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Choo-Choo got drunk. Let's be real for a second here. You just wasted good champagne for a stint like that. Good champagne was wasted. Man, this boy. If only he knew. Poor kid. Poor kid. Well, this is actually like the entire episode where they actually have to go on an adventure to actually get back the actual right spice, actually kind of then put everyone back to normal. This entire problem. I remember this. But they weren't lying. I like Nanami a lot as well. She's great. Even though she's kind of an asshole most of the time. She actually is great. He got there as well. That's the other thing to note. He actually got there as well. Oh no. You think after this whole entire point. Oh man, I'm sorry about that. I have the apex drip, alright? That's the problem. I have the apex drip. Every other single drip besides my own is but an imitation of said drip. That's probably why you might think I stole it, but no. It's not the case. You think after the whole entire point she would actually just give up completely? This whole entire episode is basically Nanami, what the fuck? That's the whole entire episode in a nutshell, really. This is a really interesting recap episode that literally is just detailing the whole entirety of like all of the bad things Anime actually has done in this whole entire narrative thus far. Imagine if it went completely differently and everyone was like, Himemia, why the hell have you got a goddamn octopus in your room? I mean, the first question everyone would actually ask. It wouldn't kind of be like, well, this is actually not the greatest room in the universe. Everyone would be like, why the hell is there an octopus in here? Gotta love how she's kind of like, gotta love how she's kind of like, how the fuck did an octopus this big actually get inside the goddamn closet? It's true. How the hell could you fit an octopus like that in a closet? It's almost as bad as Lara Croft's backpack in Tomb Raider. Old Suabaki over here is actually having an existential crisis as well. He's like, wait a minute, hold it, wait a minute, what? He's having a whole existential crisis over here. Oh man, do I love this series so much. Only series in the world that actually can have an episode all about the idea that everything might have just been an illusion this entire time. Actually then have an episode that literally is just, Nanami, what the fuck have you done? Just casually underneath the desk. Just casually. It's getting some information, I guess. At least he actually knows. Oh yeah, the boxing kangaroo. I still can't believe he actually has the nipples though. Can't believe it. I'm pretty damn sure this whole episode actually was just a reference to Ashita no Joe as well. I'm pretty damn sure. Because every single series actually has to get at least one reference to Ashita no Joe in there. Has to at least get one. It's actually a pretty good joke, to be honest. Actually, it's a pretty good joke, I must admit. Yeah, in this world, apparently animals can do very, very strange things, like surf and goddamn box, I guess. How is possible? I have no idea. But magically, it does actually appear in this show, though. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. That's a no-no right there. I love how he kind of actually references the idea that actually it might happen again. Oh, the puns. Oh, the puns. staying do. I still can't get past the whole entire pun. And the idea that Anthony's just sitting there the entire time just knitting as well. Or sewing, I guess, as well. All she's doing is just like, everything's kind of going to shit. She's just sitting there just sewing. Oh yeah, this is the episode also, we actually found out everything's actually a lie, like the whole entire thing with Red, with cows and balls as well. It's all just a lie. Sometimes in life you actually have to ask yourself, what the hell? Should be more worried actually is like things that's what actually can turn into cows and everything else like that as well. Oh no. How the hell did she fly out a window? How does she fly out a window, though? That's a real question. Uh-oh. 24 strategies. I had to just realise what the fuck's going on behind that glass. Someone has actually finally caught on to the idea of what the hell is going on behind that glass. Well, there you go. I guess. What's the moral of the story? I don't know, to be honest. I don't even know myself. What is the moral of that story? Don't hope that the person you're obsessed with kind of becomes a cow, so you actually then become a cow as well. Or don't strategize how to become the person you want that person to be like, I guess? Question mark. I'm just, man. So many things in an episode. So many things. Not discounting the idea of actually how that dude literally became a cow for her as well. How he was actually about to give up his own human life to actually become a cow, actually kind of then be with her. Because let's be real, why would you? none of me is not a good person. He hasn't kind of realized that yet either. That's one magical thing about him. He actually hasn't realized that she actually isn't a great person. He's like, nah, she's good. I'm like, bro, yeah, I guess also hide your journals as well, or write them on your iPhone when no one actually can read them, because you actually can password protect that shit. Not, well, God, 20 years has changed when it comes to like the way you hide shit. Oh no, Seaweed Boy's back. Oh, the last arc. It commences next stream. Well, there we go. We have finished completely the Black Rose saga now. We actually finished the second arc. And it was true iconography, I must admit. Absolute apex iconography, that was. Amazing. 10 out of 10. 100 out of 10. Ikuhara genius. I bow down to thee at this point. But I do actually really like what they did with that whole entire arc. Because again, it's one of those ideas that I would say the only other series that actually has kind of examined the idea of like the motivation of a character kind of being like nothing more than an illusion or anything like that. Probably the only one I've actually ever seen do that other than this is Fire Punch. Because Fire Punch kind of examines the idea that essentially the main character is kind of forced into this whole entire thing. There's no sense of freedom to his character. Rather, it was actually kind of like orchestrated by a writer. That's the whole entire meta of the whole entire narrative. We have actually now. Well, actually, I think over half now, if I remember correctly. It's half of 39 is 18, isn't it? 18.5? Yeah. 18.5. Wait, no. Is it? I can't remember. I can't do math. Probably around somewhere around there. Probably around about there, I'd say. We've done 2 cores of the show now. So yeah, I mean, it's one of those things, again, it's interesting because, theoretically speaking, you could attribute the idea that a whole entire character is like an illusion. In essence, what we're kind of following is what she deems to be the thing she wants to follow, rather than it actually be out of her own free will or something like that. It could have been interpreted that the entire thing very much is just an illusion orchestrated by someone more larger than her, so in theory kind of like a writer to that degree. So theoretically speaking, though she actually has these dreams being very lofty and actually kind of very valid, might not actually be her own, or might not actually be the one she actually wants. It does kind of go back to the whole entire mythos of this whole entire series as well, because the series actually has detailed the idea that the freedom these characters do in free will might not actually be actually what they think. Essentially, because we go back to the first arc actually kind of does detail that. The idea that how everything between Anthe and Utena was actually a fabrication. It wasn't true. It was all just because she was a Rose Bride. So everything she was saying because she had to say it. And actually at that point she realized, oh shit, there's nothing in this whole entire show thus far actually means anything. And actually then we had the whole entire moment that she actually kind of gave up. And it actually does theoretically kind of then go back to this whole entire idea here. The idea that maybe we don't actually have a character who technically is the embodiment of freedom. It's what the writer wants you to believe is embodiment of freedom, rather than actually her being that embodiment of freedom. Though granted, she is, theoretically speaking, the embodiment of freedom. She exhibits the characteristics that do detail the idea that her whole entire character is the freedom that so many characters desire in this genre, but can't have. But then it kind of spins that by saying, actually, is that the case? Or is it just the idea of actually what you want to believe, or what she wants to believe as well? I like how it does actually kind of tell that whole entire idea, while also then kind of going back to the whole entire idea that his own sense of like wanting, everything he actually desired as well was an illusion. Him being there was an illusion as well. So everything was basically a fabrication. Everything we're following was a fabrication to that degree. And I like the whole entire idea, because again, it kind of it brings us to question a lot about this whole entire narrative as well. It's everything else we've been kind of following this entire time. Are we actually kind of following someone who is actually kind of wanting something? And it goes back to the whole entire idea, once again, about the idea of freedom. Especially the idea of the freedom through the lens of Utena and Anthe, because Anthe, theoretically speaking, is trapped. She's a character trapped in the Rose Bride. And that kind of tells the idea that she actually has to they actually have to win at the end of this all. There's no way to get out of it. And then you have the whole entire idea that the place she actually kind of calls home, the place she actually desires to be at most, is a literal birdcage, which does, theoretically speaking, trap her in there. So then you actually have that whole entire idea as well. Then, on the other hand, you have Utena herself as well. Utena kind of wants to revolutionize the world. The idea of actually kind of getting that revolution, because literally the whole entire show is called Revolutionary Girl Utena. So then, if you kind of then look at this whole entire arc, it kind of tells you, but what's she going to revolutionize by the end of this whole entire show? Is there a revolution? Or is it just what we're meant to kind of believe, or what the show's making you kind of perceive to be a revolution? What is the true nature of this whole entire narrative at this point? Maybe true the whole reason why Anthe's actually sleepy. So it's one of those things. It does kind of actually bring into question a lot about this whole entire show, especially about the characters we're kind of following. Especially if, theoretically speaking, that we actually are, especially if the characters are actually going after a genuine cause, or whether or not the actual cause they're actually going after is nothing but a fabrication that exists within this whole entire world. Because again, it's one of its whole entire ideas. It brings a lot out about that this whole entire show is an anti-narrative. It's not a narrative that kind of exists in the same kind of lens as, say, I don't know, Cardcaptor Sakura, or say Sailor Moon, which Ikehara also worked on, or stuff like that. It doesn't exist in the same lens as that whole entire like mythos, because in that mythos there's an evil that has to be defeated at the end of it all. There's a protagonist, and there's an evil and then there's the characters who help that protagonist actually kind of then get the evil away from the world. But in this show, there isn't an antagonist. There isn't someone who Anthe and Utena have to defeat. Rather, it's characters who are fighting for a cause that oppose the actual protagonist. And to that end, it kind of makes you wonder, okay, so essentially, who is Utena in this whole entire narrative? Is she the embodiment of freedom, or is she someone who's just kind of there? Is her whole entire like being the anti of everything else? Yeah, I still think the idea that maybe it is just the perpetuation? Is that the word? I don't know. It's just to perpetuate the idea that there is a never-ending cycle here. I do actually agree. It kind of feels like the revolution itself is just a means to an end as well. Revolution means the revolution itself just exists to actually kind of get somewhere. It's the point B essentially of the point A. We're at point A right now. Point B is revolution itself. So it's a goal. It's a goal everyone wants to get to. Though granted, at the same time, it doesn't feel like that at all, because at the same time, she doesn't really want the kind of like battle. The whole entire time she's constantly saying, look, I don't want to do this, while we're doing this all the time. So theoretically speaking, saying it's actually a point B as well is actually invalid, because it kind of isn't either, because it exists just to kind of be there. It's just a means to an end. This whole entire show is literally a means to an end. That's why I always kind of say this actually is the anti-narrative of like a shoujo anime, especially when it comes to like the idea of a battle shoujo anime, which I do actually believe there is other examples like Sailor Moon and stuff like that, which Ikehara also worked on. So it's one of those things that, again, this is very anti-narrative, or very what's the other word? It's the antithesis of everything that exists within the genre. It exists outside of everything else that kind of exists, because everything it does, it kind of just flips on its head. It says constantly, look, yeah, but is what we're following here genuine, or is it just characters just trying to just meandering this entire time? Is the entire idea at the end of this all gonna be valid, or is it just gonna be something that is a conclusion rather than anything else? And the idea of actually how they kind of tell it in this show does actually kind of make you wonder whether or not it will be a happy ending for him. So I kind of believe the Black Rose Saga actually exists rather than anything else to actually kind of tell you that maybe nothing what we've been watching thus far is kind of true to an extent, or actually whether or not to actually kind of look at the narrative in a different lens. That the idea maybe is that she is just a puppet in this whole entire like idea, whether or not she she doesn't actually have the free will that we kind of do exhibit, because he does say, like, look, the characters went there on their own free will. Granted, still at the end of it all, it wasn't their own free will because they didn't want to fight, but at the same time, them going there was like over their own free will. The same thing applies with Utena. Utena actually went there off her own free will. Granted, at the same time, she actually had the battle, but still, there's a sense of free will there. The free will exists. A whole entire character embodies free will. But is that the whole entire thing? That's the thing. Are we actually following someone who actually has free will, or is she actually someone who, once again, does exist within a narrative that is written by someone? So maybe in the end, Ikuhara's actually saying, like, look, everyone is just a puppet to everything else going on here. No one actually has that sense of free will. Very much how it does mirror in Fire Punch. Fire Punch literally does tell the idea that there is no sense of free will for these characters. These characters exist within the world that is written by someone. I think Ikuhara is actually kind of telling the idea as well. There is no sense of possibly. That's also another thing as well. Whether or not actually is actually the case, we have to wait and see. But yeah, I feel like it is like he's saying that there is no free will, practically speaking, in narratives. It's only a free will it's only the free will exists of the person who's writing it, giving that sense of free will. So rather, they're still a puppet, practically speaking. And that's what I'm trying to get at, I think. That's my interpretation of the whole entire arc thus far. That's how I'm kind of seeing it, because again, that entire episode upends everything. It kind of says, like, look, even him being there was an illusion, and everything she actually might be in theory following is an illusion. Everything we're following might be an illusion, which actually has in theory been done before. First arc actually has in theory done that. The first arc actually kind of tell the idea that everything up to the whole entire point was an illusion. Nothing more, nothing less. So yeah, I mean, I'm actually excited to actually see how this whole entire show concludes, considering we're now actually heading into the final arc. Whether or not we do in theory reinforce a lot of what this show is trying to imply, or whether or not it upends it all once again. That's the one thing to actually wait and see, because it is doing some very interesting things that I do actually want to see how he does conclude it. But yeah, I mean, goddamn, this arc was brilliant. This arc was really fucking good. God, it was so good. It was one of those arcs that really does just make you think a little bit more about what you're actually watching, especially if you actually kind of then go and view something like Sailor Moon, Cardcaptor Sakura, or anything in Magical Girl genre. Because again, the other example I probably can actually tell that might, in theory, kind of upend the genre itself, might in theory be Madoka Magica. It's the only other show I know that actually completely upends the entirety of like what it means to be a magical girl within this narrative. And actually what it does in free to tell. But this one actually kind of looks at it from a meta point of view, like the idea that, yeah, are we actually kind of following someone who embodies a free will, or is it actually what we're meant to believe to be free will, or is it also just a puppet to this whole entire idea? Once again, this whole entire idea is that it's upending the entire first arc by saying freedom, what's that? It doesn't exist. It was sort of kind of alluding to that in the first arc, but it was actually kind of then detailing the idea that freedom exists. But the arc actually kind of saying, actually, does it though? Are we seeing free will, or is it something completely different? Who knows? But yeah, good job, I must say. It was actually brilliant. The whole entire arc was actually great. I might upload this whole entire last section again tomorrow, because I actually kind of think that actually is a very important kind of point to actually kind of raise about this show, because it is really, really, really important, because this show actually is saying something, I think, especially from the time period the show came out as well. And I feel like it actually is sort of still relevant to this day. Maybe it actually still is relevant, because I actually haven't had a show like this since, besides Madoka Magica as well. So probably the other example I can actually think of, Magia? Is it Magia? Actually, might be Magia. But anyway, until next time with some more Revolutionary Girl Utena, that actually has been me for today. So as always, Goshicho, arigatou gozaimasu. Boku no to wo oshiroi to omotara, ine ya channel toruku wo onegaishimasu. So as always, actually have enjoyed the whole entire show in Dune Fury. Leave a like, because indeed it's quite a bit. If you have then enjoyed this whole entire show in Dune Fury, leave a sub as well, because both do help quite a lot. If you have then enjoyed this whole entire show in Dune Fury, follow me on Twitter, or join Discord as well, because both do help quite a lot, and both will then tell you when your streams go live and any other streams I do as well. But until next time with some more Revolutionary Girl Utena, I'll see you guys then. Bye for now.